The vast emptiness of space surrounded the alien scout ship. Its sleek, silver hull gleamed in the distant starlight. Inside, Captain Dai sat in his command chair, his 4 eyes scanning the various screens before him. His skin, a pale blue, wrinkled with concern as he studied the data. "Sir, we found something interesting," said Tai, the ship's sensor officer. His long fingers danced over the control panel. "It's a solar system we haven't seen before." Dai leaned forward, his antennae twitching with curiosity. "Show me," he ordered. A holographic image appeared in the center of the bridge. It showed a yellow star with several planets orbiting around it. Tad zoomed in on the 3rd planet from the star. "This planet seems to have life," Tai explained. "And not just simple life. We're picking up signs of advanced technology." Dai's eyes widened. This was big news. The Galactic Confederation had been searching for new intelligent life for centuries. "Are you sure?" he asked. Tai nodded. "Yes, sir. Look at these readings." The hologram changed to show close-up images of the planet's surface. There were cities, roads, and even satellites orbiting the planet. Dai could hardly believe his eyes. "We need to report this to headquarters right away," Dai said. He turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed, and the crew looked around in panic. "What's happening?" Dai demanded. Tai's voice shook as he answered. "Sir, we've been detected. The planet's inhabitants have some kind of advanced scanning technology. They've locked onto our position." Dai felt a chill run down his spine. This wasn't supposed to happen. Their ship had the best cloaking technology in the Confederation. How could these unknown beings have spotted them? "Evasive maneuvers," Dai shouted. "We need to get out of here." The ship's pilot, Rin, quickly took action. The scout ship darted away from the planet, but it was too late. Several objects had launched from the planet's surface and were now heading straight for them. "Are those weapons?" Dai asked, his voice barely a whisper. Tai shook his head. "I don't think so, sir. They appear to be some kind of probes or small ships, but they're moving incredibly fast." Dai made a quick decision. "We can't risk a confrontation. Jump to hyperspace immediately." Rin nodded and activated the hyperdrive. Just as the alien probes were about to reach them, the scout ship disappeared in a flash of light, leaving only empty space behind. Back on Earth, in a top-secret military base, General Kim stood before a group of world leaders. The room was tense, filled with a mix of excitement and fear. "Ladies and gentlemen," General Kim began, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "At 300 hours this morning, our deep space sensors detected an unknown object near Mars. Upon closer inspection, we confirmed it to be an alien spacecraft." Gasps and murmurs filled the room. The general waited for the noise to die down before continuing. "We attempted to make contact, but the craft fled as soon as it realized we had detected it. We launched our fastest probes to intercept, but the alien ship disappeared. There's no other word for it. One moment it was there, the next it was gone." A man in a suit stood up. "What does this mean, General? Are we under threat?" General Kim took a deep breath. "We don't know for certain, but we must assume that whoever was on that ship will return, possibly with others. And we need to be ready." She pressed a button, and a hologram appeared, showing a massive spacecraft unlike anything the leaders had ever seen. "This," General Kim said, "is the HSS Thunderbolt. It's been in development for years, a joint project combining the most advanced technology from every nation on Earth. We designed it to defend our planet from any threat, terrestrial or otherwise. I believe it's time to launch it." The room erupted in discussion. Some leaders argued for caution, others for immediate action. But as the debate raged on, one thing became clear. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and they needed to prepare for whatever might come next. As the meeting continued, Technicians and soldiers around the world began to mobilize. In orbital shipyards, lights flickered on, illuminating the enormous form of the HMS Thunderbolt. Humanity's first battleship was about to meet its destiny. The next morning, Captain Jisoo stood in front of a large window, looking out at the massive shape of the HMS Thunderbolt. The ship was huge, bigger than anything humans had ever built before. Its dark metal hull gleamed in the artificial light of the space dock. Jisoo felt a mix of pride and nervousness. She had been chosen to lead this ship, to be humanity's first line of defense against the unknown. It was a big job, and she knew the whole world was counting on her. A voice behind her broke her thoughts. "Captain, the crew is ready for your inspection." Jisoo turned to see her first officer, Commander Sung. He was a tall man with a serious face, but his eyes were kind. "Thank you, Sung," Jisoo said. "Let's go meet our team." They walked through the ship's bright corridors. Everywhere, crew members were busy preparing for their mission. Some were checking computer systems, others were moving supplies. Everyone looked up and saluted as Jisoo passed by. They reached the main bridge, a large room filled with screens and control panels. Jisoo looked around at the faces of her bridge crew. They all looked young and a little scared, but also determined. "Listen up, everyone," Jisoo said in a clear, strong voice. "We have a big job ahead of us. We're going to be the first humans to meet aliens face to face. It's scary, but it's also exciting. We've trained hard for this. We're ready." The crew nodded, standing a little straighter. Jisoo could see their fear turning into determination. "Now let's go over our mission," Jisoo continued. She pressed a button, and a big screen lit up with a map of the solar system. "We know the alien ship was here, near Mars," she said, pointing to a spot on the map. "Our job is to go out there and wait. We don't know if or when they'll come back, but we need to be ready." Sung spoke up. "What if they do come back, Captain? What do we do?" Jisoo took a deep breath. "Our first goal is to talk to them. We want peace if possible. But if they attack, we defend ourselves and Earth. That's why we have the best weapons and shields ever made." Just then, a young woman with short hair and bright eyes spoke up. "Captain, I'm Hana, the chief engineer. I've been working on a special project that might help us communicate with the aliens." Jisoo nodded for her to continue. Hana tapped on her tablet, and a strange-looking device appeared on the big screen. "This is a universal translator," Hana explained. "It uses advanced AI to try and understand any language, even alien ones. It's not perfect, but it's our best shot at talking to them." "Good work, Hana," Jisoo said, impressed. "That could be very useful." Suddenly, alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed all over the bridge. Sung rushed to his station. "Captain," he shouted over the noise, "we're picking up a signal. It's from the alien ship. They're back." Jisoo's heart raced, but she kept her voice calm. "All right, this is it, everyone. This is what we've trained for. Sung, what's their location?" Sung's fingers flew over his controls. "They're just past the moon, Captain, moving slowly towards Earth." Jisoo nodded. "Okay. Hana, is the ship ready for launch?" Hana checked her systems quickly. "Yes, Captain, all systems are go." "Good," Jisoo said. She sat down in the captain's chair and took a deep breath. "Let's do this. Helmsman, take us out. Nice and easy." The huge engines of the Thunderbolt roared to life. Slowly, the massive ship moved out of the space dock. As they cleared the structure, Jisoo could see the blue and green ball of Earth below them. "Set course for the alien ship," she ordered. "But keep our weapons powered down. We don't want to seem threatening." As the Thunderbolt moved towards its destination, Jisoo looked around at her crew. They were nervous, but ready. She felt proud of them, and of humanity. "Whatever happens next," she thought, "we'll face it together." The stars stretched out before them as the Thunderbolt accelerated. Humanity's first meeting with alien life was about to begin, and the fate of Earth rested on what would happen next. Far away in space, on a planet called Zora, the alien leaders were in a big meeting. They sat around a round table, their blue skin shimmering under the bright lights. The room was quiet, but you could feel how worried everyone was. At the head of the table sat High Commander Eon, the leader of the Galactic Confederation. His 4 eyes looked tired as he spoke. "We have all seen the report from Captain Dai," Eon said. "There is a new species out there, and they have technology we didn't expect." A tall alien named Lim stood up. "We should talk to them," he said. "Maybe we can be friends. We could learn from each other." But before Lim could say more, another alien interrupted. This was Admiral Q, known for always wanting to fight. "No," he shouted. "We can't trust them. What if they attack us? We should strike first." The room got very noisy as everyone started arguing. Some agreed with Lim, others with Q. Eon had to bang on the table to make them quiet. "Enough," Eon said. "We need more information before we decide. Admiral Q, I want you to take a fleet to Earth, but listen carefully. You are not to attack unless they attack first. Do you understand?" Q didn't look happy, but he nodded. "Yes, High Commander. I understand." After the meeting, Q walked to his ship. It was big and covered in weapons. As he walked, he thought about the new species they had found. "They're probably weak," he thought. "All new species are. We'll show them how strong we are, and they'll join our confederation without a fight." On his ship, Q's crew was getting ready to leave. His second in command, a female alien named Ree, came up to him. "Admiral," she said, "the fleet is ready. But are you sure about this? Captain Daz's report said these humans have very good technology." Q laughed. "Don't worry, Ree. We have the biggest fleet in the galaxy. No new species can stand against us." Rhea didn't look sure, but she nodded and went back to her job. As the fleet got ready to leave, Q stood at the front of his ship, looking out at the stars. He was excited. This was his chance to show everyone how great he was. He would be the one to bring these humans into the Confederation. "Maybe I'll even become the new High Commander," he thought, smiling to himself. The fleet took off, hundreds of ships flying together through space. They looked very strong and scary. Q felt very proud as he watched them. After a long time flying through space, they finally got close to Earth. Q could see the blue planet on his screen. It looked small and weak to him. "See," he said to Ree, "they only have one planet. How strong can they be?" But then something appeared on the screen. It was a ship coming from Earth. Q's eyes got big as he looked at it. The ship was huge, bigger than any ship in Q's fleet. It was dark and looked very strong. Q could see it had many weapons, but they weren't turned on. What is that?" Q said, his voice shaking a little. Rhea looked at her screen. It's a battleship, Admiral, but it's bigger than anything we've ever seen before." For the first time, Q felt scared. This wasn't what he expected. These humans weren't weak at all. They had built something amazing, something that made even his big fleet look small. "Should we attack, Admiral?" one of his officers asked. Q couldn't speak for a moment. He just stared at the huge human ship. Finally, he shook his head. "No," he said quietly. "Not yet. Let's see what they do first." As Q watched the human ship come closer, he realized something. This mission wasn't going to be as easy as he thought. These humans were strong, maybe even stronger than the Confederation, and for the first time in his life, Admiral Q was afraid. The HS Thunderbolt moved slowly through space. Inside, Captain Jisoo sat in her chair, watching the stars on the big screen. Her heart was beating fast, but she tried to look calm for her crew. "Any sign of the alien ships?" she asked. Sung, her first officer, looked at his screen. "Yes, Captain. They're coming into view now." The screen changed. Now they could see hundreds of alien ships. They were smaller than the Thunderbolt, but there were so many of them. Jisoo took a deep breath. Okay, everyone. Remember our training. We're here to talk, not fight. But stay ready, just in case. On the alien fleet's main ship, Admiral Q was also watching his screen. He could see the big human ship clearly now. It's even bigger up close, he thought. He felt scared, but he didn't want his crew to know. Send them a message, Q ordered. Tell them we come in peace. But when they tried to send the message, nothing happened. The humans didn't answer. On the Thunderbolt, Hana was working hard at her station. Captain, she said, they're trying to talk to us, but our systems can't understand their language. Jisoo nodded. Keep trying, Hana. We need to find a way to talk to them. Hours passed. Both sides tried everything they could think of to communicate. They sent pictures, numbers, even music, but nothing worked. As time went on, people on both sides started to get nervous. On the Thunderbolt, some of the crew were whispering to each other. What if we can't talk to them? One of them said, what if they attack us? Jisoo heard this and stood up. Listen, everyone, she said in a strong voice. We're not giving up. We'll find a way to talk to them. That's our job, and we're going to do it. Her words made the crew feel better. They all went back to work with new energy. On the alien ship, Q was having a hard time. Some of his officers wanted to attack the humans. They were scared of the big ship and thought fighting was the only answer. But Q remembered what High Commander Eon had said. No, he told them. We don't attack unless they attack first. Keep trying to talk to them. More time passed. Both sides kept trying to communicate. They were tired, but they didn't give up. Then, suddenly, something changed. Hana jumped up from her seat on the Thunderbolt. Captain, she shouted. I think I've got it. Everyone turned to look at her. Jisoo leaned forward in her chair. What is it, Hana? Hana was typing fast on her computer. I think I figured out their language. It's very different from ours, but there's a pattern. If I'm right, we should be able to talk to them now. Jisoo smiled for the first time in hours. Good work, Hana. Let's try it out. She turned to her communications officer. Send them a message. Keep it simple. The officer nodded and spoke into his microphone. This is the HSS Thunderbolt of Earth. We come in peace. Can you understand us? On the alien ship, there was suddenly a lot of noise. Q rushed to the front of the bridge. What's happening? He asked. One of his officers looked up, his eyes wide. Sir, we're getting a message from the humans. We can understand it. Q couldn't believe it. After all this time, they could finally talk to the humans. He felt relieved, but also a little worried. What would the humans say? Were they really peaceful, or was this a trick? He took a deep breath and gave an order. Send a message back. Tell them we understand. Tell them we come in peace too. As the message was sent, both the human and alien crews waited. This was the moment they had been working towards. The first real communication between their species was about to begin. Everyone held their breath, wondering what would happen next. Would this be the start of a new friendship or the beginning of a war? The future of both species hung in the balance as they waited for a reply. The space between the human battleship and the alien fleet was quiet. Both sides had sent their messages of peace. Now they waited to see what would happen next. On the HS Thunderbolt, Captain Jisoo stood up. She looked at her crew and smiled. Good job, everyone. We've made first contact. Now, let's try to learn more about them. She turned to her communications officer. Send another message. Ask them why they've come to Earth. The officer nodded and sent the message. On the main alien ship, Admiral Q received it. He read it out loud to his crew. They want to know why we're here, Q said. He thought for a moment. Tell them we're explorers. We want to learn about new species. As Q's message was being sent, something unexpected happened. A young alien named Ta, who worked on the weapons systems, got very nervous. He had never seen a ship as big as the Thunderbolt before. He was scared. Suddenly, Ty saw something on his screen. The Thunderbolt was scanning their ship. But Ty didn't know it was just a scan. He thought it was the humans preparing to attack. Without thinking, Ty pressed a button. A small weapon on his ship fired at the Thunderbolt. On the Thunderbolt, alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed everywhere. "What's happening?" Jisoo shouted. Sung, her first officer, looked at his screen. His face was pale. "Captain, the aliens have fired on us." Jisoo couldn't believe it. They were just talking peacefully a moment ago. What went wrong? "Damage report," she ordered. Hana, the engineer, checked her systems. Then she looked up, surprised. "Captain, there's no damage. Our shields stopped their attack easily." Jisoo nodded. The Thunderbolt's defenses were very strong. But now they had a big problem. The aliens had attacked them. What should they do? On the alien ship, everyone was panicking. Admiral Q was shouting at Ta. "What have you done?" Q yelled. "I told you not to attack." Tad was shaking. "I'm sorry, Admiral. I thought they were going to attack us. I got scared." Q put his head in his hands. This was very bad. He had promised not to attack first, but now one of his crew had fired on the humans. What would the humans do now? Back on the Thunderbolt, Jisoo had to make a decision. Her crew was looking at her, waiting for orders. "Captain," Sung said, "should we attack back?" They fired first. Jisoo shook her head. "No, something's not right. That attack was too small. I think it might have been a mistake." She thought for a moment, then had an idea. "Hannah," she said, "can you aim our main cannon at that big empty space between our ships?" Hannah nodded. "Yes, Captain." "But why?" "I want to show them how strong we are," Jisoo explained. "But I don't want to hurt anyone. If we fire into empty space, they'll see our power. Maybe then they'll think twice before attacking again." Hannah understood. She aimed the Thunderbolt's biggest weapon at the empty space. "Ready, Captain," she said. Jisoo took a deep breath. This was a big risk. If she was wrong, this could start a war, but she had to try. "Fire," she ordered. The Thunderbolt's main cannon lit up. A huge beam of energy shot out into space. It was so bright that everyone had to cover their eyes. When the light faded, there was a big empty area where the beam had been. All the stars in that space were gone. The Thunderbolt's weapon had cleared them away like they were nothing. On the alien ships, everyone was quiet. They couldn't believe what they had just seen. The human ship had so much power, it could have destroyed their whole fleet. But instead, it had fired into empty space. Admiral Q stood up. He understood now. The humans were strong, much stronger than his people, but they didn't want to fight. They had shown their power, but hadn't hurt anyone. "Send a message to the humans," Q said quietly. Tell them we're sorry. It was a mistake. We didn't mean to attack them." As the message was sent, both sides waited again. The humans had shown they were powerful but peaceful. Now it was up to the aliens to decide what to do next. Everyone hoped that this mistake wouldn't lead to a big fight, but they also knew that things could still go very wrong. The next few moments would be very important for both humans and aliens. Admiral Q stood on his ship, staring at the screen. He had just sent a message to the humans saying sorry for the attack. Now he waited, feeling scared and worried. On the HS Thunderbolt, Captain Jisoo read the aliens' message. She felt relieved. It looked like they could avoid a fight. "Send a reply," Jisoo said to her crew. "Tell them we accept their apology. Ask if they want to talk more." But before the message could be sent, something terrible happened. Back on the alien ship, a group of officers had been talking in secret. They didn't trust the humans. They thought Admiral Q was weak for saying sorry. "We should attack now," one of them said. "The humans won't expect it." Without waiting for Q's orders, they took control of the weapons. Suddenly, all the alien ships started firing at the Thunderbolt. Alarms blared on the human ship. The whole ship shook as it was hit by many weapons at once. "We're under attack," Sung shouted. Captain Jisoo couldn't believe it. They were so close to peace, and now this. "Shields up," she ordered. "Hana, how are we doing?" Hannah checked her screens quickly. "Shields are holding, Captain, but they won't last forever against so many ships." Jisoo nodded. She didn't want to fight, but now she had no choice. "Prepare all weapons," she said. "We need to defend ourselves." On the alien ship, Admiral Q was shouting at his officers, "Stop firing. I didn't order this." But it was too late. The attack had started, and now the huge human ship was getting ready to fight back. The space around Earth lit up with weapon fire. The alien ships were smaller, but there were hundreds of them. They flew around the Thunderbolt, firing again and again. But the Thunderbolt was strong. Its shields glowed as they stopped most of the alien attacks, and when it fired back, its weapons were very powerful. With each shot, the Thunderbolt destroyed many alien ships. Explosions filled the space around Earth. Inside the Thunderbolt, Captain Jisoo and her crew worked hard. They didn't want to kill the aliens, but they had to protect Earth. "Aim for their weapons and engines," Jisoo ordered. "Try not to destroy their whole ships if we can help it." Hannah had an idea. "Captain," she said, "I think I can use our shields in a new way. If I change how they work, we might be able to push the alien ships away without hurting them." Jisoo smiled. "Do it, Hannah. That's exactly what we need." Hannah worked fast at her station. Her fingers flew over the controls as she changed how the shields worked. Suddenly, a big wave of energy came out from the Thunderbolt. It didn't hurt the alien ships, but it pushed them back, far away from Earth. Many of the alien ships lost power and started floating in space. They couldn't fight anymore. Admiral Q watched all this happen. He couldn't believe how strong the humans were. His fleet was losing badly. "We have to stop," he said. "Send a message to all ships. Tell them to stop fighting." But many of the alien ships didn't listen. They were too angry or too scared. They kept attacking, even though they were losing. The battle went on for hours. The Thunderbolt kept fighting, protecting Earth. It destroyed some alien ships and pushed others away. Finally, after a long time, the alien fleet started to retreat. There were only a few ships left now. On the Thunderbolt, everyone was tired. But they had won. Earth was safe. Captain Jisoo looked at her crew. They all looked tired too, but proud. "Good job, everyone," she said. "We did it. We protected Earth." But even as she said this, Jisoo felt sad. So many aliens had died. She wished they could have found a peaceful way. As the last alien ships flew away, Jisoo wondered what would happen next. Would the aliens come back? Would there be peace between humans and aliens someday? She didn't know the answers, but she knew that humans had shown how strong they were. The aliens had learned an important lesson. Earth was not a planet to attack lightly. The HSS Thunderbolt floated in space, guarding Earth. It was ready for whatever might come next. The battle was over. The space around Earth was quiet again. Pieces of broken alien ships floated everywhere. The HSS Thunderbolt stood guard, its big shape blocking the view of Earth from space. Inside the Thunderbolt, Captain Jisoo looked at her crew. They were tired but happy. They had won. Earth was safe. "Good job, everyone," Jisoo said. "You should all be proud. We protected our home." But Jisoo didn't feel completely happy. She wished things had gone differently. She wished they could have made friends with the aliens instead of fighting them. Suddenly, Sung spoke up. "Captain, we're getting a message. It's from the alien admiral's ship." Jisoo was surprised. She thought all the alien ships had run away. "Put it on the screen," she said. Admiral Q's face appeared. He looked tired and sad. "Humans of Earth," he said, "I am Admiral Q of the Galactic Confederation. I come to surrender." Everyone on the Thunderbolt was quiet. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. Q continued, "We were wrong to attack you. We didn't understand how strong you were. We're sorry." Jisoo stood up. She looked straight at Q's image on the screen. "We accept your surrender, Admiral," she said. "We don't want to fight. We want peace." Q nodded. "We want peace too. Now, can we talk?" Jisoo smiled. "Yes, we can talk. That's what we wanted from the beginning." Over the next few days, humans and aliens talked a lot. They learned about each other. The aliens were surprised by how quickly humans had built such strong ships and weapons. "We've only been traveling in space for a short time," Jisoo explained to Q. "But we've always dreamed about it. We've thought about meeting aliens for a long time. So we prepared." Q was amazed. "In the Galactic Confederation, we thought we were the strongest. But your one ship beat our whole fleet. We've never seen anything like it." As they talked more, both sides started to understand each other better. The aliens learned that humans were not just strong, but also kind. The humans learned that the aliens had a big galaxy full of amazing things. Back on the alien homeworld, the Galactic Confederation was having a big meeting. They had heard about what happened at Earth. Many alien leaders were scared. "These humans are too strong," one leader said. "What if they attack us?" But High Commander Eon, who had sent the fleet to Earth, didn't agree. "No," he said. "The humans are strong, yes, but they're also peaceful. They could have destroyed all our ships, but they didn't. They only fought to protect themselves." Eon stood up and looked at all the alien leaders. "I think we should invite the humans to join the Galactic Confederation," he said. "We can learn from them. And maybe they can learn from us too." Many of the aliens liked this idea. They voted, and most of them said yes. So, a few weeks later, a big alien ship came to Earth. But this time, it came in peace. High Commander Eon himself was on the ship. There was a big meeting on Earth. Leaders from all Earth countries were there. Captain Jisoo and her crew were there too. And High Commander Eon came with some alien leaders. Eon stood up to speak. "People of Earth," he said, "we invite you to join the Galactic Confederation. We want to be friends and learn from each other." The Earth leaders talked for a long time. Finally, they agreed. Earth would join the Galactic Confederation. There was a big celebration. Humans and aliens shook hands, or tentacles, and promised to work together. As the party went on, Captain Jisoo stood with her crew, watching humans and aliens talk and laugh together. "We did it," she said. "We made first contact, we protected Earth, and now we're part of a big galactic family." Sung smiled. "And it all started with our ship," he said. "The first time aliens saw a human battleship and feared for their lives." Jisoo nodded. The HSS Thunderbolt had done its job. It had shown that humans were strong. But in the end, it wasn't just the ship's weapons that won the day. It was the wisdom and kindness of its crew. As Jisoo looked up at the stars, she knew that a new chapter was starting for humanity. They were no longer alone in the universe, and she couldn't wait to see what would happen next.